Hey everyone and welcome. We are Next Level Business Advisors and this is Business Stories of Success. If you want to break through and achieve your own business success by learning from other successful business owners, you're in the right channel. For more of our content, make sure you click subscribe and don't forget the bell icon so you're the first to be notified when new videos are added. Enjoy today's video.
Hello, hello, hello. You're with Mark Adams, a Next Level Business Advisor, and we're happy to have with us a fellow professional, Miss Bernadette L. Harris. She is the owner of By the Book Accounting, and she's in Georgia. I was going to sing the song, but I said nobody wants to hear that. How you doing, Bernadette?
Good job, because I don't know the lyrics, so I couldn't even help you out.
You know what? I know all the words, but by the time I'm done, people will come up here and take me out because I'm just horrible. I'm horrible.
Yeah, all I know is Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, isn't that the whole song? No.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Ray.
So.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me on my little journey about business success. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad at all. I was just talking a little bit earlier about how chilly it is right now. So I'm not a happy camper, and we haven't even hit winter yet. But I'm gonna be strong.
Yeah, you may need to relocate.
Well, I told you I'm gonna relocate the entire firm, which is me and Claudia, to Phoenix. I'm not gonna digress too much, but I would love that. I think I would love it. You know, they say be careful what you wish for, but now you're in Georgia, so it's a little bit better at least. Right?
Yeah, it's a little warmer here. I think today we got as high as about 65.
Oh, so, see, that's sweet. That's sweet. And
it's nice.
November, 65 in November. That ain't bad. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
My office is at 73 right now.
Well, I do have my little space heater that keeps my feet warm, when it gets a little chilly in here. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So, all right, let's get to brass tacks. You are an accountant, and so I'm going to give you the floor. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and your role in the business.
Okay, so I'm Bernadette L. Harris. I am the president of By the Book Accounting, and we are a tax and forensic accounting firm. So in addition to providing tax preparation and accounting services to small businesses, we also do forensic accounting. And the forensic accounting part of our business is probably the part that makes people's eyebrows go up. And it's kind of, it sets off the antennas to say, what is forensic accounting? And so I always just tell people, think about CSI with numbers. So I'm the person that they will hire me when there is a financial crime that's being committed. And in that situation, I will say, who did it, how they did it, how much did they steal? And I also work with the organizations to make sure that this never happens again. And so that's a real fun part of my business. I've been in business now for 19 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is
my 19th
hold on. Year.
We need to pause it for the veterans. For 19 years, that's saying something. That's very nice.
Yes. So 19 years. And it's been a wonderful journey. I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs across the country, helping them to start, run, and grow their businesses the right way. I never thought that I'd be an entrepreneur, Mark. I never did. And
we're gonna dig into that because that's really what this is all about. Like, when we have our skill set and what we're good at what we do, but that's a leap to the entrepreneur part of it. You know what I'm saying? So we're definitely going to dig into what made you take that leap. But before we do, I want to get some I call it bookkeeping in order, right? For those who are looking for a forensic accountant, do you have a website? Can you give it to us?
So our website is our company name, bythebookaccounting.com. And I like to tell people that's BY, because sometimes people will think it's BUY, like buy, like purchase. So it's bythebookaccounting.com. And you can go to our website, find out more about our services, schedule a discovery call.
Okay, cool. And ladies and gentlemen, accounting, 2 C's. Hey, I always look, I do this for a living, and sometimes I'm like, okay, ACC, you know.
Right,
So
right.
by the book
I don't like to
accounting.com.
spell out loud because it's like, wait a second.
Yeah. I play myself, you know, and then they say, "Oh, this guy's dyslexic. I hope he's not with the numbers." So, all right, and phone number, right? We can
Phone
reach you
number.
by
So our
phone.
office number is 678-608-2775.
Okay, say that one more time. I always think like in somebody's mind, they're listening and they say, "Oh man, I wanted to," and they run in to get a pen right when you
Right,
finish it.
right.
So
So
one
if
more
you
time.
so grab the pen. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
678-608-2775.
Awesome, perfect. Now you said you've been in business for 19 years.
Yes, November is this is my anniversary month. So I started my business 19 years ago. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but 19 years ago this was a few months after 9/11.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big leap. That's a
Yeah.
big leap.
So I started
Yeah.
my business 2 months after 9/11.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm now. You know, I was gonna ask you this question. I'm gonna go in a little bit of different order because I wanted to. I want to dig into that while we're here. What made you take the leap to starting a business? So tell me, before you started the business, what were you doing? What made you take the leap to business ownership?
So I worked in accounting right out of college. So I worked in government accounting for several years. I even taught high school for 2.5 years.
Mm.
I always say that was the best parenting class of my life. Woo, yeah. So
That's
I
what I
taught
can
high
imagine.
school. Yeah, I taught high
Woo,
school for two and a
yeah.
half years. I was a basketball coach when I taught high school.
What?
Yeah, my
Oh, you
team
got
was.
game? You got
Yeah,
game?
I have skills. I don't know if I still have them. I had skills.
Okay. Hey, me too. I I had a jersey, but yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yes, it was a while ago, but yes, I did. I coached, and my team won district championship my first year of coaching, so that was
Oh, okay.
pretty cool. So, that was a great experience. But after teaching for 2.5 years, I really did miss accounting,
Okay.
and so I got back into accounting. I was doing some contract work for a government agency who had gotten a bad audit, and they needed some help getting their accounting system cleaned up and just putting some processes and procedures in place. And so myself and another person was hired to go in and help. And I did the AP side, they did the AR side. And for those of you who are not accountants, that's accounts payables and accounts receivables. And so we just went in and we cleaned up their books. Their books were a mess. We
Okay.
cleaned up their books and then helped them to put some procedures in place, as well as train the new staff on how to kind of operate in that.
Right.
And so after doing that project, I realized something. I said, I contracted with them for X number of hours and I got paid on an hourly rate. And one of the things that is like, I finished it early. I got it done. I was able to do everything that I was supposed to do. They were in good standings with their funding agencies, all of those things. And I didn't get any kind of bonus, no pat on the back, no acknowledgement, none of that kind of stuff. And that was when I realized, like, if I had my own business, I would have been able to charge more.
Mm.
I would have been paid for what I was worth, as opposed to them just saying, we're going to pay you X number of dollars an hour. And so after I finished that project, that's when I started my business. And when I think now, I mentioned it that 19 years ago was 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I was so fearless that I didn't even think about the fact that we just had this, this major event that
Yes.
was going to, that had such an impact on our country. I was just that fearless. I can't believe it. When I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
back, I can't believe how fearless I was. And it didn't even faze me that we're 2 months post 9/11. And here I am jumping out there and starting a new business. And so,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Now you hear me chuckling because you said something that reminded me of me, and I've been in business for a little less than, I think, 18 years, right? This is 2020, right? So 18 years running into 19. And when I started, I was fearless too, like, and it's funny when you start out, tell me if it's the same way as you grow in your business, you have more responsibility, you get a little bit more like careful. But before I'd be like, yeah, I'll do that. And
Yeah,
I'll
I was
whatever it takes.
extremely fearless.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
whole different person. I was
Yeah.
I was another person then. So,
Yeah.
but
It's interesting. A lot of people, when they start their businesses, it's the same way. They're fearless, right? But and that's a beautiful quality to have. But
oh yeah,
to be
you have to
successful in
have it
business,
because
yeah.
this is a scary journey, and I don't care how many books you read, how many coaching programs you join, there's no true roadmap to this. A
Okay,
lot
good.
of it is figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
That's
And that's what I was about to say, right? So fearless is, but if we're going to be successful, we got to start quickly adding all these other pieces to our fearlessness if we're going to make it past, what do they say? I always get the stats wrong. 50% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, 3
So
to
if we
5
want to
years.
get
Yeah,
that point, we got to start adding qualities quick to that fearlessness, right?
absolutely.
Fearlessness it's a beautiful quality when we start, but we need a little bit more in order to
Oh,
be successful.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and I don't want to mislead anyone
Oh
into
no.
thinking, like that I was just fearless and reckless and all that. I still took calculated risk. I still
Mm-hmm.
had budgets. I still had all of those things that are important to be successful in business. I've always been the kind of person where I've never allowed external forces to impact who I was. So, like there are people now who are pausing and saying that they're not going to start a business because we're in a pandemic. And I just feel like being in a pandemic is not a reason to not do something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean when I say fearless. It was more around the fact of I just did not allow what was going on outside of me to stop me or hinder me from doing what it was that I was trying to do. So
Okay, awesome. You might notice that my eyes dart a lot because I have a pen in my hand, and when you drop a dime, and hey, you play ball, you drop a dime, I write it down because I want to get into that because that was something you said that was amazing, and I work now. I've transitioned, or I'm transitioning to more business advisory services, and this is one thing that I always see. You just said it: external forces dictating our activity or our actions. And you said you never let external forces dictate or impact what you do, right? And tell me just a little bit about, like, can you go a little bit deeper about what you mean by that? Maybe like 9/11, how that didn't stop you.
yeah, it was almost as if sometimes I think I operate in a bubble. It's like 9/11 was horrible. 9/11 had a major impact on our economy, on our country, on just the way that we do things. There are things that we do now that are as a result of 9/11. So
Absolutely.
I acknowledge those things. But at the same time, I have no control over those things. I have absolutely no control over any of those things. And so, because I have no control over them, I can't allow those things to hold me hostage or keep me from doing the things that I'm trying to do. And so, that's what I mean when I say those external forces. There are a lot of things around, like we vote and we want our guy or girl in office, and I vote too, but at the same time, no matter who's in office, I'm still gonna do the things that I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like I'm still going to progress and transition and adjust to whatever it is. With us, every time we have a change in leadership, that means new tax laws. So we got
You
to
know
learn
it.
new tax laws.
You know it.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And I like that. I mean, you just said another word there. You said adjust. And that's really the key to me with good business owners, right? I've heard too many say, well, in my industry, I can't do. Well,
why not?
what, yeah. And if you can, I'm cool with that. But what can we do to make it successful for you? How do we, right? How do we adjust so that it fits your business model? Because each
Right.
one of us are individual business owners and we can make things work the way we make it work. So I love that. External forces don't have to compact my activity. I can
Right.
do what I like. And if there's something outside that might impact it, then I'm going to adjust around it. right? So I
Exactly.
can keep going forward. I love it. I love it. So let me ask you this question, because we're talking a lot about 5 years and extending past that, and you got 20 on you. How do you define success?
Success is different. I think it's different for everybody. You kind of get to pick. So when I think about what makes me successful in my business,
Mm-hmm.
Mark, the biggest indicator of success for me is being able to say no.
Oh, nice.
Being
Nice.
able to say no. And so I'll explain that. So a lot of times in our business, we may get approached by people, opportunities, different things. And when you know where you are, where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, when I call them distractions, when those distractions come, you can easily say no because they don't align with what you're doing. The other part of being able to say no is, I'll give an example. I'm an adjunct professor. I teach part-time, and I don't teach for the money, because the money it sucks.
Right.
Yeah. So
So
the
this
money,
sucks.
yeah, it
This
sucks.
sucks.
It does, because and you and I, with the skill set that we have an expectation of, what we can
Absolutely.
earn on an hourly
Right.
basis or whatever, right? And so when I think about what I get paid to teach, it does not equate to what I make in my
Understood.
business, right? And so that's what I mean when I say that. So I don't teach for the money. I teach because it's who I am. It's a part of who I am and what I do. And it's also an opportunity for me to be able to impact lives of future entrepreneurs. So that's the
Nice.
reason that I teach. Well, a couple of months ago, I don't know, I think it was last year sometime, I had applied for a couple of adjunct positions because I was saying, oh, well, this is, of course, pre-pandemic, but I
Okay.
was saying, I think I want to teach in the fall once tax season is over. I could teach a couple of classes, and there'll be an opportunity to give back, blah, blah, blah. So I applied for a couple of positions. I honestly forgot. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot about the positions. And so a few months ago, one of those schools that I applied at reached out to me and said, hey, we're interviewing for this position. Are you available to interview on X date? And the date that she gave, there was a conflict. I had a conflict. I was actually attending a conference that next week. And so I didn't have any availability the next week to interview. And the person was very rigid and very, like, you email me today and you want me to interview in a few days and you have no flexibility in that. And so I told her, I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm at a conference. I've already paid for this conference. This is something that I need to advance my business. So I'm not going to be able to do it. And so she's like, oh, well, if you can't do it on this date, then we can't interview you. And I said, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't think that she expected that. So she came back and said, well, maybe we could make an exception and interview you on
Yeah.
this date. And I said, no, that's okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in that moment, I realized, like, being able to turn down what appears to be an opportunity, for me, felt like success, because one, I was never, ever teaching for the money. So it was never about the money. And two, I recognized that the inflexibility that she had, it was
Was
not
going to
somebody
transfer across. Yeah.
yeah, that wasn't going to be something that I wanted to do or somebody that I wanted to deal with. But thankfully, I didn't need that money. You know what I mean? Like, this money was the money that I get paid to teach. It goes into my savings account. It doesn't even impact my household budget. And so for me, that is successful, to be able to say, you know what? All right. There'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks. But yeah, I'm good.
Appreciate it, but I'm good. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm good,
I'm
right? I'm
good.
good.
Thanks.
So,
Yeah.
so here's the next question then. So, how have you made yourself successful in your business journey? What have you done? What are some things you've done? Because that's going to help other entrepreneurs. This is how I got from the beginning, even though the journey might be a successful journey, but to the point where I can tell people, no, thank you, or I'm good. How
Right.
have you done it? What are some
And so
things?
Mark, you and I, we started our businesses around the same time, and we know that times are very different now.
Mm.
Because when we started our business 18, 19 years ago, it wasn't social media and a lot of that other
Oh,
stuff. We were beating the pavement, meeting people face to face, making connections, and that I'm sure, because I know we started around the same time. That's the way we had to build our businesses,
hey, I
right?
even did newspaper ads.
Right. Like, and some people listening are saying, what's a newspaper? So
Crazy, crazy.
and so one of the things that I tell people, so now that we're in a whole new time, right? When we think about what it takes to be successful, one of the main things is stop looking at other people.
Wow.
You have to stop looking at other people, because social media will trick you. You will see somebody with thousands and thousands of followers, and you just automatically assume that they are successful when that may or may not be the case. And so the first thing is, don't look at other people. Okay. And then you have to define success for yourself. So for me, one of the things that I've done is, as I've grown my business, when I started my business, I was a single mom. Well, shortly after starting my business, I ended up leaving my ex and became a single mom. And being a single mom in my business, the things that were important to me as a business owner was probably different for somebody else. So it was about making sure that I could take care of me and my daughter, right? And so success for me was about making sure that I had the flexibility to be at every one of her everythings, chorus concerts, fall festivals, PTA meetings, all of that stuff. And so being able to do those things. And so I had to sometimes work late, get up early, stay up late, and so that I could take off in the middle of the day and do those things. But you got to have that commitment. You got to be committed to being able to do that. So when you define success for yourself, what do those things look like? Then you got to commit to doing those things. What is it that what are you going to commit to doing? See, because everybody wants the limelight and the success and all of that, but are you willing to do the work to do it? It's like working out, right? I want a six pack, but I'm not committed. I'm not committed enough to do what it takes to get a six pack. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna suck it in. I may wear a shaper or just whatever, because I'm not committed to doing what it takes to get a six pack. And so in business, when you decide what success looks like, you have to make up your mind that you're going to be committed to doing whatever it takes to get there. And
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So I want to just key in on a couple of things, if you don't mind. I know you mentioned it and you articulated it well, but I just want to recap, because in a nutshell, I think what you said, and tell me if I'm wrong, the first thing you did to be successful is you defined what success looked like for you.
For me.
You didn't compare it to what everybody else did. This is what my vision of success was. And these are the steps that I need to get there. And I'm going to commit to doing these steps. And then voila, sis, boom, ba, 19 years later, 20 years later, I'm successful.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
And it's funny. I say that because a lot of times there's a workshop that I do. Now I'm doing it online. And so one of the first things I ask people is, so what is your vision of success? And you don't hear anything concrete or specific. It's very up, and I'm like, no, I want you to be specific as possible. Well, I just did a workshop last week, and one of the students, I don't know if you call them students, one of the people that were there, they were like, I don't know. And I said, well, okay, until you do that, you will always be unfulfilled.
Right.
You've got to have a goal.
You're the hamster on the wheel.
You're a hamster on the wheel. And so define success for you. And it doesn't mean that it's written in stone. You said, I need to have time to be with my daughter, to go to her concerts and do that. Now, we talked already, so I know your daughter's still not doing little concerts and stuff,
no,
right?
She's grown.
She's grown. Right? And
grown and on her own. Yes.
Exactly. And so success changes now, right? So now how do I
Exactly.
continue to be successful? So you can change your vision of success, but define something to strive for, and then commit to those steps.
Yeah, because if you don't define it, how do you know when you have it?
Boom, boom. That's it. That's it. And
Yeah.
you'll just be, you can be infinitely frustrated if you don't sit back and say, okay, I've reached this goal or I've hit this plateau. So I
Right.
love it. I love it. Now you've defined it, you've hit it, and we just said that sometimes it evolves.
Oh, it
Right.
absolutely has evolved because like we just said, my daughter is 25. She has her own house, her own car, her own job, her own 401k, all of that stuff. I don't do anything. If anything I do for her is a gift. Is I'm not taking care of her. And so she's not my picture of success anymore. So now the success looks different, right? And so as that success has evolved, now I'm thinking about like my daughter is good, I'm good. Now it's like now I'm thinking legacy. What does this look like from a long-term perspective? And so one of the things that I've done in my business now is now I'm shifting to that legacy mindset because I'm not going to be here forever. And I don't want this to die with me. And so, what are the things that I have to do to put in place so that this business, by the book accounting, can continue when I'm gone? And I also think about my grandbabies that I don't have yet, so
Right.
she promises me that she's gonna give me some grandbabies, and
Don't
so
we put no pressure on her
yeah,
on social media and on the podcast?
she told me she's gonna give me some grandbabies someday
Okay.
soon. So now I'm thinking about what is it gonna look like for them. And so one of the things that I want to do is I always wanted my daughter to be better than me, because my mom made sure that I was able to do some things that she wasn't able to do. And so I did the same thing. I made sure that my daughter was able to do things that I wasn't able to do. And so now when I think about my grandchildren, I want my grandchildren to be able to do things or have access to things that I didn't have access to. And so for me, success now is about building that legacy and
Nice.
putting those things in place. So yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Listening to you talk about success, it makes me think of the little podcast cover I have, and I've talked about it often. It's about this guy who's on top of this mountain and he's got his bag and he's holding up in the air. And the podcast is business stories of success, so he's successful. But I was just talking to another gentleman, and he said, what's interesting, what's so beautiful about this is, right, you're climbing this mountain, and as you're going up the mountain, you're successful because you're getting up there without breaking your neck, right? Then you hit the peak and you're successful. I've hit the mountaintop, but when you look out, there's a whole nother world. So success is something that you can readjust your sights and go for it. And that's nice. So you've gotten your success in your business and you feel successful, but now you've readjusted your sights to give you more things to strive for. That's what we mean by the evolution of success. And it's a beautiful thing, right?
Because if you reach it and then stop, like what?
Now what? Yeah, now what, right? Now what? Yeah, I agree. So that's cool. And that's what makes it fun. At least for me, right? It's like I've done these things, and for me, a long time ago, success was making sure that every day I could eat. When you leave your full-time gig, right? You leave that full-time gig.
Yes.
That's what I tell a lot of business owners. It's all cute when you're doing it like your side hustle, what have you. But when it becomes the ability for you to eat, everything changed for me. I wasn't people like, can I pay you next month? No. Because I got to get groceries tomorrow. I need my groceries. I need you to pay this bill.
My mortgage is due on the
1st. So success was just getting that. And I got that. And then I was like, okay, this is cool. Okay, I know that I'm always going to have enough money to take care of my needs. My next thing was, I don't want to work as hard. I want to work a 4-day work week. And I fashioned the business to that, and now it's like, okay, I've done that. That's cool. Now it's just like this thing, right? That's the fun part about being a business owner. Would you agree? We get to fashion our journey.
And it's an evolution. It changes it changes.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to pivot a little bit because we've been talking about your success and how you all that. We know.
We're in a bag of chips, right?
In a bag of chips. Have you ever made? No, I'm not. I know you have. Everybody has. What's one big mistake that you've made in your business journey?
Oh yes, I've made huge mistakes. So I would say that my biggest mistake is one of the things that I call DIY overload. And DIY overload is when you're trying to do everything yourself. And I have had multiple mistakes from trying to do this. And so I'll share my biggest one. It was actually a legal mistake. And so instead of hiring an attorney to draft my contract, I found something on Google or whatever, and and just kind of changed some of the words and added my county and my state and all of this other stuff to the contract. And I was using that contract, and that contract that I found on the internet came back to bite me because there were not protections in there that I needed in my business. There were certain protections that I needed in my business, and it came back and it bit me real hard. And so after being bit hard like that, let me tell you how many lawyers I have on my team now. Oh, I don't play around. Like, I don't care. In fact, I have a call with one of my attorneys tomorrow. So I don't mess around. I don't play when it comes to that kind of stuff. If my attorney says it costs this amount of dollars, I'm just like, okay, because the money that I spent to fix that mistake, I haven't spent that on attorneys yet. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. So I just learned, like, I don't do anything that I don't do well. So I have a graphic designer, I have a web designer, I have a copywriter, I have an editor, I have all of these people, social media person. I have all of these people on my team because we talked about it at the beginning of this show. I am an accountant. I am an accountant. I know Canva is easy to use and you can do nice little stuff in Canva, but and maybe for something quick I will. But no, I'll just hire my graphic designer and she can do, I'm not creating no logos. I'm not doing websites. I'm not doing any of that stuff because in addition to, people think that by doing it yourself, you could save money. And I see it on social media. Oh, you don't have to pay nobody to do your taxes. You could do it yourself. And the money that you think you're saving by doing DIY, number one, you're not that good at it. So your website looks like you did it. And number two, you don't know the tax laws, and so you miss the deduction, and so pay the people who do that stuff for a living. And so that's my biggest mistake, Mark. I tried it in the beginning, and then it's just like, it's not worth it. I will just pay, especially when it comes to attorneys. I'll just pay for an attorney to do what it is that I need to do. And I've been, even since my mistake, I've been tempted a couple of times, like, oh, I think I could probably do that myself. And then I say, girl, really? No. So
Okay. All right. So, and that's good. That's good. So, I think part of it too, I don't know if I see it a lot in the entrepreneurial world. Sometimes we're perfectionists and we feel like I can do it. I got to get it. And I'm the only one. I know this business, so I have to, and I can just take that Google document, change those words, do a search and replace, and change everything to Inglewood right. But we have to be wise to, especially when it matters. Right. Yep. And not be that do-it-yourselfer. And I like what you said. You pay when needed to get things done. And that I'm gonna digress a little bit or divert. That's actually what makes us successful in business too, because we focus on what makes us money, right. not. And if you look, you need to be the rainmaker in your business, bringing that business in and making sure that the client is, receiving the product, not tweaking the font on your website.
Or your logo or changing the that's just crazy.
You do that. Let me make the money, and I'll pay you, and then I can keep moving, right? So it's,
and you know
also
what,
like
Mark?
allowing you to move.
When we pay somebody else to do what they rock at, number one, they could do it a lot faster than we can. Mm-hmm. They do it a lot better than we can. So the whole day that we spent working on our website, we made $0, and you save what, $500? But you made nothing, and your website still doesn't look great.
Yeah.
So,
and boy, if you could have had a client that day or worked on bringing one in, well, yeah. But that's a hard lesson for a lot of business, especially newer owners, right? You get it's a process, but we learn from our mistakes, and that's the nice part about it. And we
absolutely
grow. So let me ask you this question. And we chatted about a couple of different qualities of business owners. What do you think is the single most important quality needed to be a successful owner? Single most important.
I think you have to be disciplined.
Okay, I like it.
I think you have to be disciplined. I honestly believe that any problem that we have is a result of a lack of discipline. So,
Ooh.
yeah. So when you think about your problems, it's more than likely because you lack discipline in that area. And so if you're overweight, it's because you lack discipline when it comes to eating and exercising. If you are not successful as a business owner, yeah, and I'll talk to myself because I love to eat, right? And so, if you're not successful in your business, it may be because you're not disciplined enough to do what it takes to do your business or to be successful in your business. People who have issues with relationships, a lot of times it's because of a lack of discipline in a relationship. So people who, there are people who can't stay faithful in a relationship because they don't have the discipline to be committed to their partner. So I believe that success is granted to, I guess we can say granted, and I'll put that in air quotes, to the disciplined people. When you're disciplined about whatever it is that you're trying to do, you can be successful. You will be successful because that's the key to being successful, is being disciplined enough to do whatever it takes to get it done.
I love it. You were playing with these two words. You played with it earlier when you talked about what made you successful. You talked about defining success, focusing on yourself and not others, but then being committed to the steps that are required. And now you're talking about discipline. And those two words really tie into
same thing.
Clearly, right? Being successful. If you're disciplined and you commit, now you've got something. And it's being disciplined to the business process, or disciplined to the training, or disciplined to the whatever it is, right? And you're right, when we're undisciplined, it makes it harder for us to reach our goals. I was just thinking about a client that I'm working with, and we've come up with a business process to get them from where they're actually pre-revenue to actual sales. And every time we chat, something else comes, which is the norm. And I was thinking, the fastest horse in the race always has blinders on. They're focused, they're disciplined, they're just moving in this one direction. They can't get distracted. It's so easy in business. So I love that. If we're disciplined, you said, I wrote this down because this is gonna be my little tagline. So if you you didn't trademark this yet. I know you didn't. So
I'm talking to my IP lawyer tomorrow. So no.
Okay, I got to get this done tonight. Success is granted to the disciplined. That's what I wrote down. Success is granted to the disciplined. So if you want to be successful, start working on your discipline. I love that. Cool.
Think about athletes, like the athletes who are really good at what they do. What do? They train regularly. They're disciplined about their sport. It's the same thing in life.
Yeah. It's funny because you just, about 3 months ago, I got diagnosed with diabetes. The mildest, the number's right here, boom. So the doctor says, okay, and high cholesterol, which is, that's what we do. So she said, I'm gonna put you on some pills, Mark, to lower the cholesterol. And for some reason, something clicked in my head. I mean, I eat like a slob. So these past 3 months, I've changed my entire eating habits. Like nobody believes it. My family doesn't believe it. Well, my wife doesn't believe it. My brothers and everything. I've lost like 15 pounds. My cholesterol dropped like 120 something points. My sugar is now normal or right close to normal. And it's because of the discipline. I don't even know how that happened. I really don't know what switched.
You got serious about it.
Yeah,
it's just,
And what's crazy is like what you just said, because I was going, they do a follow-up blood work. And I was like, man, I hope the numbers are better. And one of my friends were like, well, if you're doing what you say you're doing, it's going to be better. And I'm like, I don't know. But the proof is in the pudding. The numbers were like crazy. I'm like, man, if we do that with business, it's the same thing. We might not realize it, but the results will happen. It's like you said, it's granted to you. You have taken the steps. You will just see the results. Mm-hmm. Just stay disciplined. See, you got me going on and on. Okay, I got to stop. Okay. Let me ask you this question. How have mentors or coaches contributed to your success?
Significantly. I've had a coach from the very beginning. And I'm a former athlete. I'm a former collegiate athlete. And so I understand why you need coaches. I understand the importance of coaches. And so I brought that same thing to my business. I recognize that there are people who are necessary to show you how to get there, you know? And a lot of times we fall in love with our ideas. We fall in love with everything that we're trying to do.
This
And we
guy.
need, yeah, like I mean, this one too, you know. So we need somebody else on the outside to look in and just tell us it's not that great, Bernadette. You know, you think it's really great, but it probably could be if you did this instead of that. You know, and
Nice.
so I've always had a coach or a mentor or something I believe wholeheartedly. And even at 19 years in the game, I have a mentor that I'm working with right now. I believe I'm always going to be in somebody's coaching or mentoring program because you will never know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love
so,
it.
yeah, so that's a pivotal part of success. And so the other piece to that is it's a whole lot of coaches out there.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter and I joke and we say everybody's a coach,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a whole lot of coaches out there. So you have to figure out what it is that you need and make sure that the coach that you hired can help you get that.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are sometimes people who are telling people how to get somewhere that they ain't never been. And I know that's not grammatically correct. I meant
No,
for it
that's
to
that's
be.
real. That's real.
That's the real. Like
That's
you
the
ain't even
real.
been there, and you want to tell somebody how to get
Absolutely.
there. So,
Absolutely.
so there's that piece too. But I wholeheartedly believe in coaching, Mark. I
Yeah,
think.
I agree. It's funny because, and again, new business owners especially, you start out, you don't have a lot of money necessarily, and you telling me to spend money. I was like, I'll figure this out myself. I can't spend money on a coach, and I didn't. I was good. I even got from working on my house to working in an office, but then I realized at one point, it was like 9 o'clock at night doing taxes. If I want to make some real money, I can't keep it at this pace. And I reached my ceiling. Like I don't know what to do to be able to scale this business and not die of a heart attack on the desk.
All right.
So I got a coach and it changed the game. And I got a different coach. I got a second coach and a third coach. I'm probably on my fourth coach. Each coach has, like you said, different gifts, right? But it's so important when we use somebody, mentor, coach, whatever you want to grow your business. Don't be like you said. We fall in love with our own ideas, and we
And
need somebody
here's
to say that's
something
cute,
too.
but
Yeah, it is. So here's a tip for the newbies. And this is not necessarily just for newbies, but if you're feeling like your budget is tight, there are lots of organizations that provide coaching and consulting for free. So you can go to like SCORE is
score.
one of them. The SBDC, they have offices all over the country and they provide free coaching and workshops. And now, even that we're in a pandemic, I see a workshop every week, that's
Always
designed
something you
around
can
them,
do.
right, to be able to do that. And so don't allow a limited amount of income to stop you from getting coaching or mentoring because there are options. There are organizations, not some nonprofit organizations that are out there mentoring new business owners.
So I'm going to take that back to what you said when you started. Never let external forces impact who you are, right? So don't, find a way to make it work for you in your business.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this question because now you're 20 years in. So now I'm going to ask you to think back, go way back
Go way back.
and ask yourself, what would I tell myself? What advice would I give myself the day before I started my business?
Don't limit yourself. I had limits when I started, my business, even though I was fearless, even though I was blocking out those external forces. When I started my business, I didn't have big dreams. Like when I think about how much money I've made, in 19 years in this business. It blows my mind. Every now and then I'll pull my P&L and say all years. And I see I'm like, really? I've generated this kind of money from a business. And I never thought it would be that way. So this is the small part of the story that I didn't say. When I started my business, November 2001, I was married. I was married to my daughter's father, and he was the sole provider pretty much for our house. And so my business income was my hair and shoe money. It was hair and shoe money. And that's what it was. It was, my first year doing taxes, I did 20 tax returns. But if I had the mind, if I knew in 2001 that what I have right now is possible, I think I would have approached it differently. Maybe, and maybe I wouldn't have, but I feel like I would have. I feel like, one, I would have never said this is hair and shoe money.
Okay.
Hair and shoe money is not a lot of money. So
it's not a lot of money.
Yeah, but so I limited myself.
Depending on the shoes.
Well, yeah.
From what I understand.
Yeah. But I was not buying those kind of shoes. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
So don't limit yourself. I like that. And yeah, we do start a lot of times with a very small picture. And it does affect the way we grow the business, or even how we started out. So I like that one. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Normally we have a weekly mastermind. I call it Friday Focus Forum. And I'm going to have a bonus question. So when we have our Friday Focus Forum, I pick a topic and then we just vibe on it. So then I ask the people who come on my podcast to just vibe or give me their thoughts on it. Last week I didn't have one. So I'm going to give you an older one because I would love your thoughts on it based on our conversation. And this one of my actual guests told me this one. I thought it was pretty impressive. So everything you want is on the other side of fear. What do you think about that when it comes to business? Everything you want.
I agree. I think that the things that hold us back are those fears. It's either fear, and fear is what keeps us from being disciplined, right? Because a lot of times we're just afraid. You're afraid. So, and I'll share a real one. So mine is health, right? So I set goals. I set my income goals are always set. They're set through the year. But then it's like, okay, well, what about your health goals? You haven't, you've been sitting on your butt doing taxes for 10 months this year. What are you going to do? And so I have an accountability partner, and I send her my goals. She sends me her goals. And this week I said, I'm going to send a fitness goal. And I haven't done that. And I know myself. If I set the goal, then I got to get it done. You know? And so the way that I keep from getting it done is not setting the goal. Right. And so a lot of times it's that fear is what holds us back from, for me, it's like I fear not reaching a goal. So it's like,
that is,
I'm not going to set
I think you said it perfectly. That's exactly right. Yeah. I'm kind of scared so I won't do it. And then I can't consider myself a failure because I never said it in the first place. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I do with my fitness goals. So I'm working on it.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, Bernadette. Everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah, it's on the other side. Yep.
On the other side. We just got to get past it. Hey, this was amazing. I want to thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time and dropping some gems. And I'm going to steal that tagline. If I beat you to the is it the IPO office? No, it's not the IPO, but it's that I know success is granted to the disciplined. Ooh. Thank you so much.
You can use it. That's my gift to you, Mark.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Hey, we appreciate it. Really loved it. Look forward to continuing to see your journey to success.
Thank you.